Welcome, friends, to another exciting episode of A VGM Journey. And I'm your host, The Messenger. The track that we're playing in today's show is Cyclops from the game Spider-Man and the X-Men in Arcade's Revenge. And that was composed by Tim and Geoff Follin. Got a real fun rocking show for you guys today, and let's kick things off with a track from Lightening Force. The track is Fighting Back, and it was composed by Toshiharu Yamanishi, Takeshi Yoshida, and Tomomi Ootani. That track that you just listened to, that was Fighting Back from the game Lightening Force, and that was composed by Toshiharu Yamanishi, Takeshi Yoshida, and Tomomi Ootani. I always thought Lightning Force, aka Thunder Force 4, has always had a really amazing soundtrack, and this track from the opening stage really sets the pace for a real fun time. So you definitely get the feeling of flying through the sky and being badass. And it really showcased how good the music can be on the Sega Genesis. So I always feel like that was one genre that the Sega Genesis really excelled at, was rock and metal. And the game itself is really good too. Or at least that's what I heard. We're going to move on to a fighting classic, and this time coming from the game Killer Instinct 2. This is Gargos, and this was composed by Beanland. That really awesome track that you guys just listened to, that was Gargos from the game Killer Instinct 2, and that was composed by Robin Beanland. Gargos' theme on Killer Instinct 2 is up there as one of the best fighting game themes ever. I know that might be a bit of a hot take, but you guys just listen to that track. I mean, come on. This is some really good stuff. And Killer Instinct 2 is a real fun time too. I don't like it as much as the original, but for a theme for the main antagonist of the game, I will say that Gargos is way better than Idol, who was the main antagonist in the original Killer Instinct. Plus, I also think the design of the character is pretty cool too. He's like a winged gargoyle demon monster who wants to take over the world and kick your ass at the same time. And speaking of demons, I'm bringing back a segment that I haven't had in a little while, and that is Then and Now, but this time covering the track Doom from the game Doom 2 Hell on Earth. The original was composed by Bobby Prince, and then after that I will play the arrangement by Andrew Hulshult. those two tracks that you just listened to, they were both Doom from the game Doom 2 Hell on Earth, originally composed by Bobby Prince, and the arrangement was done by Andrew Hulshult. With the recent released bundle of both Doom and Doom 2, it was the perfect excuse to go back to both of those games, and what was really cool about them was they had the original soundtracks, and they also had different versions of the soundtracks. They had like some FM options and MIDI, but they also had a remixed soundtrack for both games. And I'm kind of cheating a little bit because a lot of that stuff, it was made before the remasters, but then they wound up including them with the game, and the arrangement was one of those tracks, but I'm counting it anyway. And I have to say that both versions are really good, and that both of them are really rocking in different ways. I think with Bobby Prince's original, it's a bit more atmospheric with the organs, and that it's very fitting with the couple levels that it plays on, especially map number 13, where you're running around a pretty open area with different buildings, and you're trying to find your way around and also having to use some teleporters. But I also really like Andrew Hulshult's more slower but more heavy sounding version. And I'm really torn on which one I like better because I like them for different reasons. I think on one hand, I think Bobby Prince's original is more fitting for the level, or levels, I mean. But Andrew Hulshult's version really gets me pumped up, and I think it's also a good listen on its own. And I'm really curious on which version you guys prefer. So we're going to move on to our next track, and this is coming from Final Fantasy VII. This is Fight On, and this was composed by Nobuo Uematsu. That track that you just heard, that was Fight On from the game Final Fantasy VII, and that was composed by Nobuo Uematsu. And that's going to just about do it for the show today. If you like what you've been listening to, have your friends check out the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and even TerraPlayer, which is home to many different video game and video game music podcasts. You can email the show at vgmjourney@yahoo.com, and you could also check us out on X at vgmjourney. We also have a Discord server for the show, which I will provide a link for that in the show notes, where you can hang out with your fellow VGM journeymen and talk about games, music, and even look at some cool art. We're also going to play things out with one more track, and that is the legendary theme from the game Gitaroo Man, and that was composed by COIL, YUAN, and Tomohiro Harada. Have a good one, everyone.